Okay, so today we will be discussing about the spinal cord. Okay. What happened? Okay. Can you see the slides and all? Yes. Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay. So you see the spinal cord, as you all know, this is the extension, lower extension of the brain itself, which enters the vertebral canal, and the length is about 45 centimeter. This is the average. Okay, it may be till 47 centimeter. This is the average length, 45 centimeter. Now it starts at the level of C1. Before C1 we call it as medulla oblongata, isn't it? So this is nothing but the extension or continuation of the medulla oblongata. So from C1 we call it as spinal cord. It extends to the C1 matlab cervical first vertebra, and it extends to the lumbar 1 vertebra. This is the spinal cord. It is inside the vertebral canal. Somewhere here is the C1. So here it starts. It ends at the level of first lumbar vertebra. Okay. Now while it goes down, it tapers at an area near the first lumbar vertebra, and that tapered part is known as it's like a cone, so it's known as the conus medullaris. Okay. Now again from the conus medullaris, there is an extension of the meninges, that is the pia mater, which extends down from here, and that is known as filum terminale. Okay, we will discuss it later on. So it's about 45 centimeter, extends from cervical first to lumbar 1 vertebra. The lower tapered end at the level of first lumbar vertebra is known as the conus medullaris. An extension of the coverings, the pia mater, which extends from the conus medullaris till the sacral, coccygeal segments. This is known as the filum terminale. Now from the spinal cord, there arises the spinal nerves. How many? There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves, isn't it? These are some things you already know. What is the function? At the spinal level, there are some reflexes. So the spinal cord executes some reflexes at its level, at its own level, that is known as spinal reflexes, and transmission of the sensory and motor impulses, including the autonomic nervous system. Okay. So this is in short the introduction of the spinal cord. Anybody knows how many? How the 31 pairs of spinal nerves are divided? Anyone? How the 31 pairs of spinal nerves are divided into different segments, different areas: cervical, thoracic, lumbar. Anyone?
Sir, cervical 8, thoracic 12, lumbar 5, sacral 5, coccygeal 1.
Okay, so this is how we will discuss it again. Okay, now let's move to the coverings of the spinal cord. Okay, as in case of brain, in the nervous system, the three coverings which are over there, known as the dura, arachnoid, and pia. So same happens in case of spinal cord. Now in case of brain, you have earlier seen that the dura consists of two layers. What are the layers? One is the endosteal layer, one is the meningeal layer, isn't it? That was in case of the brain. And in between them, there are some formation of some venous sinuses and all, and the partition of the brains. Okay, but here in case of spinal cord, the dura is there, but it's having only a single layer. Okay, so the dura mater, the outermost covering, the most tough covering of the spinal cord, consists of the fibers. So it starts same at the level of where the spinal cord starts, C1. Okay, then from the foramen magnum, and it extends till the sacral 2 vertebra. Okay, so it extends, the dura extends till the sacral 2. In this picture you can see this is S2. So dura extends till here. Okay, So this green thing which you are seeing is together there are dura and arachnoid. So it ends in the S2, starts up at the foramen magnum. Now between the dura mater and the wall of the vertebral canal, okay, the bony wall of the vertebral canal with some ligaments, this area in between them is known as the epidural space. Okay, this is the epidural space. Here also you can see this area, this is the bone, this is the body of the vertebra, isn't it? This is the spinous process, this is the laminas. So in between this is the vertebra and this is the dura along with the arachnoid inside. So in between them, this space is known as the epidural space. Usually there are some loose irregular tissue, some fat and a venous plexus which is known as the vertebral venous plexus. Okay, so this is the epidural space. Second layer is the arachnoid matter. Now arachnoid is matter as you must have been discussed in case of brain. It is a thin layer. Mostly it's like web. Okay, very thin web-like layer. This is avascular in nature. Now that layer, the arachnoid matter, usually it is attached or adherent to the dura mater, and again it extends till the sacral too. So together, this green thing over here, this green line is the dura and the arachnoid, which extends till the second sacral vertebra. Okay. Now, the innermost layer is the pia mater. Okay. The inner, see, I have already told you the spinal cord ends as conus medullaris at the level of L1. From there, an extension of pia, which has been shown over as red, okay, this extension is known as the filum terminale. It extends to the coccyx. So this is the extension of the pia. Now the pia is highly vascular and thin membrane. Okay, it's highly vascular, very thin membrane attached, adherent to the spinal cord. It will be very difficult to take out the pia. Now that same layer will extend as the filum terminale. Okay, and in between the arachnoid, so in this layer there was dura and arachnoid together, but the layer which is lying low is the arachnoid. So in between the arachnoid and the pia, this area marked as pink, this is the subarachnoid space. This pink area all over is the subarachnoid space, and in case as similar to the brain you have seen, this subarachnoid space will be containing what? Anyone?
CSF.
Cerebrospinal fluid, the CSF. Okay, so these are the three layers. Dura, between the dura and the vertebral canal there is the epidural space. Then the arachnoid, between the arachnoid and pia there will be the subarachnoid space. The dura and the arachnoid, they extend till the sacral two vertebra. The pia mater as an extension extend till the coccyx. Okay, so these are the different layers which are covering the spinal cord. Okay, now this is something which I will give you as an assignment. Okay, a procedure which is known as the lumbar puncture. Sometimes in case of infections, okay, and in some therapeutic causes you have to take out the cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid lies in the subarachnoid space, isn't it? So in that case, when you enter a needle, you have to make sure you are entering the subarachnoid space. You are not injuring the nerve terminals over there. You are not injuring the spinal cord over there. And usually it is done at the level where the spinal cord is no more there. It ends. And there are some nerve terminals, of course. And these nerve terminals we'll discuss. These are known as the cauda equina. We'll discuss it. So it is taken at the level of L3 and L4. Okay, so this will be an assignment for you. Now till now, is it okay? Till now, the introduction and the meninges, shall I need to repeat anything? Okay, now we will just see there are some processes of pia mater. The pia mater which we have seen here, you see this is the dissected, okay, the spinal cord specimen, photo of a dissected spinal cord specimen. Here you can see a glistening white layer over here. Okay, the glistening part, this is the spinal cord as such, and this glistening part is the pia mater. Okay, we have removed the dura and the arachnoid. You can see this layer on either side. The inner aspect which is shining over here is the arachnoid matter, which is attached to the dura. Okay, this over the spinal cord, this layer is the pia. Okay, so again there are some extensions or some modifications of the pia mater, processes of pia mater. The first one is the phylum terminale. So as I have told you, this is the conus medullaris, ends at the level of L1. Now in case of children, it ends at the level of L3. Spinal cord, in case of adult, it ends at the level of lumbar first vertebra. In case of children, it ends at the level of L3. Okay. Since the vertebral column is not developed as much as in adults than in children, that's why it's the spinal cord, if we compare it, extends till L3 because the vertebra is yet to be formed. Some part of it had to be lengthened. Okay, so it is lying at the level of L3 in children and L1 in adults. Now this is the conus medullaris. From there, as I have already told you, the layer of pia mater which is covering the spinal cord, it extends as the phylum terminale. It extends all throughout till the first coccygeal vertebra. Okay, so this is the first modification of the pia mater, the phylum terminale. Now again, a part of phylum terminale is within the, bathed by the CSF, within the subarachnoid space, and a part at the level of S2, it comes out from the subarachnoid space till the coccyx. Now the part which is inside the, within the subarachnoid space covered by the dura and the arachnoid is known as the phylum terminale internum. This is for the, mainly for the PGs. Okay, this is known as the phylum terminale internum. The length is about 15 centimeter, and the part which is lying outside is known as the phylum terminale externum, and it is about 5 centimeters. So as a whole, the phylum terminale, the length is about 20 centimeter. Okay, so this is one extension. Next, there is a septum which connects the dorsal surface of the spinal cord. Unfortunately, I don't have any picture for that. Okay, so there is a septum which connects the dorsal surface of the spinal cord to the arachnoid matter. Somewhere here, there will be a septum which will communicate, which will connect this area, the dorsal surface of the spinal cord, with the arachnoid matter somewhere here. Now this is known as the subarachnoid septum. This is another modification of the pia mater. Then in the anterior part, again there is a septum. Okay, in the anterior median fissure, you see, this is the anterior median fissure of the spinal cord. Now from here a septum will extend. A septum will extend, okay, or a thickened, okay, and that septum in the anterior part will be known as the linea splendis. For this also I don't have any picture. Next is ligamentum denticulatum. Now if you see over here, this is the pia mater. Okay, and if you see on outside, this same pia mater is extending like that. Okay, on this side also, here, this side also. So it's almost in between the two spinal nerves, in the middle of the attachment of the two spinal nerves. Here, the pia mater is extending as tooth-like process. Okay, and it extending to attach the pia till the dura while it pierces the arachnoid. So the pia will get modified, will get a little thickened in between the two spinal nerves. It will pierce the arachnoid and it will get itself attached to the dura. So these, as they are thickened, these processes are known as ligamentum denticulatum, tooth-like processes. There are 21 pairs of ligamentum denticulatum, okay, which lie in between these nerve roots. Okay, so this is the fourth modification of pia mater. So these will be asked, as it can be seen in the specimen during your viva, okay, to show the ligamentum denticulatum. Now this acts as a attachment. This attachment acts to keep the spinal cord in position, okay, so that there is a continuation between all these three layers and it's kept in its position while the body is moved, okay. Plus there is another usefulness of this ligament. These ligaments are identified, okay, during surgery like cordotomy, okay. So they are just counting the numbers of the ligament, okay, for the surface. It's sort of surface marking, okay. According to the ligament they will find the segment of the spinal cord. So this is the usefulness of this ligamentum denticulatum. So as a whole, phylum terminale, subarachnoid septum, linea splendis and ligamentum denticulatum, they are the modification of the pia mater. Everything okay till now? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now if you see the external features of the spinal cord, okay, if you see the features of the spinal cord from outside, if you see, if I go again to this picture, you can see this is the anterior part. You can see a very thin linear depression in the anterior part, okay, if you see the spinal cord as a whole. But if you cut it and take a section of the spinal cord, it will appear somewhat like this, okay. So that thin linear, okay. It's very slow. This thin linear depression is known as the anterior median fissure, and when you take a section, you'll find that it appears somewhat like this. So it's a depression in the middle of the spinal cord, and we call it as a fissure, which lies in the anterior and median area. So it is anteromedian fissure, okay. Posteriorly, this becomes a little less depressed area, a little less prominent area, okay, and this is known as the posteromedian sulcus. So anterior one you call it as fissure, posterior one you call it as sulcus, okay. At the very same time, if you divide it into two parts, just running arbitrary horizontal line like that into anterior and posterior, then you can again see another depression on the sides of it, okay. So these are known as the anterolateral sulcus. These two are the anterolateral sulcus. We are talking about the external features, okay. If you see the posterior part again, so similarly like anterolateral, there are two posterolateral sulcus, okay. Posterolateral sulcus, this is wrongly written over here. These are the posterolateral sulcus, okay. So as a whole, anteriorly there are anterior median fissure, anterolateral sulcus. Posterior there are posteromedian sulcus and posterolateral sulcus, okay. So this is how it is divided from outside. Now if you talk about the segments, as we have discussed, there are how many pairs of spinal nerves coming up? Anyone? 31, isn't it?
31, sir. 31.
31 pairs of spinal nerves. Now if you see over here, So what is this? Anybody having any idea what is this? They have shown this is the fourth ventricle. Okay, so this is somewhere the cerebellum will lie. ठीक है, then इसके बाद आ गया ये pons में है, then it becomes the medulla. Now the medulla will end at the level over here, at the level of C1. Okay, and then if you see the first cervical spinal nerve, it is coming out just above the C1. This is the C1. It's coming out just above the C1. In cervical, how many are there? How many cervical nerves are there?
8. Sir. 8.
8 are there. So you see the first one comes above the corresponding vertebra. This is the C1 vertebra. This is the C1 spinal nerve. Okay, so it is coming, the nerve is coming just above. So this is C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7. This is C8. The C8 is in between the C7 vertebra and the thoracic 1 vertebra. Okay, because if we count the vertebra, there are only 7 cervical vertebrae. So there is an extra spinal nerve for the vertebra which comes out just below the cervical 7. So there is, that is the C8, it comes in between the C7 and T1 vertebra. Okay, now from there, since it is occupied by C8, this is the T1. Again the thoracic, so this is the T1 vertebra, this is the T1 spinal nerve. Now since because there is the C8, an extra one, so now the spinal nerve will come out from below the corresponding vertebra. So this is the T1 vertebra, this is the T1 spinal nerve. Earlier they were coming above. From the cervical they will come below. Okay, so this is how they are getting distributed. So there are cervical 8, thoracic 12, then lumbar, bolo, lumbar 5, then sacral, yes, kitna?
5, sir.
5, coccygeal
1.
1. Okay, so total 31. So like the areas of the spinal cord from where a single spinal nerve comes out is known as the cervical segment. So you see these are all are the nerve rootlets. Okay, they are the nerve rootlets. Posteriorly also these are all nerve rootlets. So together they will form the anterior ventral horn, the ventral root and the dorsal root. Okay, now the ventral root and the dorsal root, they will combine to form the spinal nerve. This spinal nerve will again divide into a ventral ramus and a dorsal ramus. Okay, again I'll repeat, there are small rootlets which are coming. You see these rootlets, earlier we have seen the external features. There is the anterior median. What is this? Anyone?
Anteromedian fissure.
Anteromedian fissure. Posteriorly there will be sulcus. Laterally what was here? Anterolateral sulcus, isn't it? So this is the anterolateral sulcus is the area from where these nerve rootlets will come out. Okay, for the ventral root, the posterolateral sulcus is the area from where the many nerve rootlets will come out. For the dorsal root, these two roots, ventral and dorsal, will combine to form the spinal nerve. It happens at the level of intervertebral foramen. Okay, the formation of the spinal nerve. Then the spinal nerve will again divide into ramuses. The one which comes in front is known as the ventral ramus. One which goes in the posterior aspect is known as the dorsal ramus. Always remember, the ventral ramus only is responsible for the formation of all the plexuses which you have learned, the brachial plexus, the lumbar plexus. Okay, whatever plexuses are there, they are always being formed by the ventral ramus. See, root is different from the ramus. Root is something which comes before the spinal cord is formed. Ramus is the how the spinal cord is divided and distributed. Spinal nerve is divided and distributed. Okay. Now again, you see this ventral root on the ventral part. This is motor in nature. The dorsal part is sensory. So basically, from here the nerves are going out. Okay, as ventral ramus. And from the posterior part, the nerves for the dorsal root, they form a ganglion over here. Okay, this is known as the dorsal root ganglion, and they enter to the posterolateral fissure to the posterior horn, which is sensory. So anterior horn is motor, posterior horn is sensory. Okay, and over and all above, there will be the covering of the all three layers, so that from outside you can see a structure like this. Okay, this is the dura, then attached to the dura, adherent tightly to the dura will be the arachnoid. Okay, and in between them there will be a space just below the arachnoid, subarachnoid space containing the CSF, and attached to the adherent to the spinal cord will be the pia mater. You can see the extensions on either side. This is one, this is another. So these are the denticulate ligaments or ligamentum denticulatum, 21 pairs. Okay, again you see over here, this is other denticulate ligaments in between the exit of the spinal nerves. Okay, so this part, is it understood? So now here the area of the spinal cord from where a single spinal nerve is coming out, whole of this area is known as a spinal segment. So how many spinal segments will be there? Anyone? How many spinal segments will be there? Yes? Anyone? Spinal nerves कितना है? 31 pairs. So spinal segment कितना रहेगा? 31, isn't it? 31 spinal segments. Okay. Now next, coming to the enlargements. Okay, enlargements of the spinal cord and cauda equina. Now you see the spinal cord, this is the vertebral column. The spinal cord lies like this inside the vertebral column in an area where it needs more motor supply and the sensory supply, that is in the upper limb and in the lower limb. There are enlargements of the spinal cord. The spinal cord, since the neural tissue needs to be more over there, is enlarged, and thus there are two enlargements. One is known as the cervical enlargement, another is known as the lumbar enlargement. So this is the cervical enlargement from C5 to T1. So C5 to T1, what comes out? Anyone? From C5 to T1, what is the structure which comes out? Brachial plexus. So it needs some motor supply and sensory innervation also. So therefore there is an enlargement in the cervical C5 to T1 area. Another, for the lumbar plexus, there is enlargement in the lumbosacral region, which is from L2 to the S3. Okay, so these are the cervical and lumbar or lumbosacral enlargements. Okay, now as we have seen, this is the conus medullaris, which is ending up at around the level of the first lumbar vertebra. Now the spinal cord has ended here, isn't it? But again, the spinal nerve has to extend till the intervertebral corresponding foramens, isn't it? They have to come out to the intervertebral foramens. Earlier, the size of the length of the spinal cord was almost similar. It was corresponding to the length of the vertebra. But when the length of the vertebra increased, it is extended down, the vertebral canal extend down, so that the spinal cord was short, a little short of the vertebra down. Okay, now the spinal nerves has to come out from the spinal cord, but then again they have to extend like this, so that they come down of them. Okay, and these extensions of the spinal cord, the appearance, the spinal nerves, rootlets, they appear like the tail of the horse, and this is known as the cauda equina. What is this layer? Anyone? What is this layer? It's ending at S2. See, approximately at S2. This white layer, anyone? What is this?
Arachnoid.
Arachnoid. Dura and arachnoid together. So that the spinal nerves are bathed in subarachnoid space. So the subarachnoid space is ending at S2. Now an extension from the spinal cord of pia mater is somewhere here only, and it will extend till the coccyx, the middle one. Very faintly they have given white color middle one. So this is the phylum terminale. Okay. So have you understood the distal architecture of the spinal cord? Conus medullaris, which ends at L1. From conus medullaris, the phylum terminale, an extension of the pia mater, till the first coccygeal vertebra. The subarachnoid space will extend down even if the spinal cord has ended. It extends down, okay, till the S2. Okay, and somewhere in between the L3 and the L4, where the chances of injuring since there is no spinal cord over here, sometimes it may have happened that in some of the persons it extends till L2. Okay, this is not absolute. Science is never absolute. So it's in every person it might not happen that it ends in L1. It might extend till L2. Okay, so it's to be safe between L3 and L4, the lumbar puncture is done so that there are chances to take out the CSF, so that there are very less chances of injuring the spinal cord. Okay, so the extensions of the spinal nerves just below L1, which appears like the tail of a horse, is known as cauda equina. Now if you see the internal structure of the spinal cord, there is this gray matter, and there are centrally lying gray matter and peripherally lying white matter. Now this architecture is just opposite to the architecture seen in the brain. In brain we saw that outside or in the periphery there is the gray matter, isn't it? The cerebral cortex. Cortex matlab the outer layer. In case of brain, the outer layer, the cortex is gray. Okay, and the gray matter means it will be having what? Anyone? The gray matter, as we call the nuclei,
collection of nuclei. Soma of the neurons.
The body of the neurons. So the neuron has got a body and an extension which is known as the axon. The axon are the fibers, isn't it? The white matter, and the body is the gray matter. Okay, in case of brain, the body is lying outside in the cortical area, and from there the white matter comes out. In case of spinal cord, the body is lying deep in the center, the gray matter, and outside there are the fibers, which is known as the white matter. Now if you see the gray matter in case of spinal cord, this is known as it can be divided into anterior and posterior part. Appears like a butterfly, wings of a butterfly. Okay, in the center there is the canal, which is known as the central canal, which is the extension of the ventricles and the spaces within the brain. Okay, so this is the central canal. Again, it will be having what? CSF inside it, cerebrospinal fluid inside it. The gray matter can be divided into anterior part, which is a little broadened up, okay, thick and broadened sort of quadrangular area. Okay, this is known as the anterior horn. Posteriorly, there is a small triangular area, and this is known as the posterior horn. Okay, these two horns, I mean the anterior, posterior, like if you divide into two halves, these two halves are getting communicated with each other by transverse gray commissure. This is the commissural fibers. That means these neurons are communicating the neurons of these two areas. Okay, there are interneurons which communicate in between these two areas, two halves. Okay, and they are known as transverse gray commissure. As I have already told you, these nerve rootlets which are coming, they are coming from where? From the anterior horn. They are motor. So they are going like that. So they will be efferent, isn't it? This is motor. So what was this? What is this? Ventral root or anterior root. This is root, not ramus. Okay, the ventral root. The dorsal root or the posterior root is sensory. So this is a bipolar. Okay, this is the bipolar, or you can say pseudo unipolar cells. They are coming like this. The neurons, they are a collection of many neurons to form a spinal root. Okay, so all the neurons will be coming like that, giving a, okay, the cell body is somewhere here. Okay, then again it will be giving the sensory information, communication to the dorsal root. So the dorsal root is sensory, the ventral root is motor. Okay, so this becomes one spinal segment, second spinal segment, third spinal segment, the area from where a spinal nerve is coming out. So this is the architecture or the internal structure. Okay. Now if you see the different neurons, or just if we see this picture, you'll find in the cervical region, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, the architecture of the internal organization or the thickness of the spinal cord differs. It's different in different areas. In cervical, there is more of white matter. Okay, as we go down, the white matter decreases, because these white matter nothing but the continuation of the white matter which has been supplied to, suppose this goes to the upper limb. Okay, from the thoracic also some has gone to the upper limb. For lumbar, some has gone to the lower limb. And lastly, the white matter is very less because already it's supplied over there. So the white matter as we go down decreases. Okay, in the cervical area, again you see the gray matter is a little more. Okay, because it has to give the supply to the brachial plexus, the cervical enlargement. Okay, again in the lumbar it is more. It is supplying in fact the lumbosacral region. It is supplying the lumbar plexus or the lumbosacral plexus. Okay, now if you see, there is an extra horn which is found in mostly in the thoracic part. Now this extra horn is known as the lateral horn. Okay, what is the purpose of this lateral horn? Anyone? It is found in the thoracic.
Sympathetic fibers.
So as you know, autonomic consists of parasympathetic and sympathetic. Parasympathetic is craniosacral outflow and sympathetic is thoracolumbar. So the sympathetic fibers which are coming out are entirely coming out from the spinal nerve. Okay, they are coming out from the spinal nerve primarily, then they are going to the different areas of distribution. So this is for the sympathetic supply. Okay, thoracolumbar. So you get an extra horn which is known as the lateral horn, and these areas which you are seeing over here, crisscrossed areas, these are reticular formation, which we will see later on while we study it in the brain. Okay, now if you see the neurons, okay, structurally there are two types, Golgi type 1, Golgi type 2. The type 1 is elongated, okay, and these are mainly responsible for the tracts. They are coming out of the spinal cord. Golgi type 2 are nothing but the interneurons communicating within the spinal cord between each neurons. Okay, so structurally there are two types. Functionally, there are motor neurons, sensory neurons, interneurons. So in these interneurons are nothing but Golgi type 2. Okay, motor neurons, they are a little, if you see it under the slide, you will find in the anterior horn, the motor neurons are little thick. Okay, they are big, they can be seen very easily. So this is another way to identify the different horns in a slide. If you see, there are a large cell body, okay, big neurons, so that is the anterior horn. Okay, so they are the motor neurons, the type alpha and gamma. So this is something related to the intrafusal and extrafusal fibers. You will better learn in physiology. Okay, then sensory neurons lies in the posterior horn. They are small neurons. Okay, can be seen but not as much as what happened. Huh? 5 minutes left, no? Okay, it's 5 minutes left. So in the posterior horn, you will find some neurons, but they are smaller as compared to the anterior horns, and there will be neurons which are known as the association neurons. Okay. So let us just stop over here. From tomorrow, we will, in my next class, we will see the tracks. Okay, different tracks, and if possible, the arrangements, okay, of the nuclei in the spinal cord. Okay, anything to ask? Anybody wants to ask anything? Yes?
No, sir.
During the lumbar puncture.
What?
So during the lumbar puncture, the cauda equina will not be damaged.
See, I will show you. Yes, now disturb कर रहा है. See, the cauda equina is floating. Okay, they are floating. So when you do the lumbar puncture, they are just going away from the area. You're getting my point? They are just tail-like processes which are floating in the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, so since they are floating like this, so there are very less chances. If you insert a needle over here, they'll be just get pushed. Usko tum dhakel dega side mein. They will just be pushed sideways. There are very less chances that they might get injured. Okay, so between L3 and the L4, if you go, you are going from the posterior aspect anyway. You are not injuring the spinal. You are not in near the spinal nerves. You are in the posterior aspect. From the posterior aspect, you just, when you push it, then they will just get away from your needle. Okay. So the main thing over here is that you should know that you are in the subarachnoid space. It might happen you are punctured through and through the spinal cord. The spinal cord. You won't get anything. You will get blood. Okay. So you should make sure that you are inside the subarachnoid space. That is the main thing. Otherwise, injuring these things as they are floating within the spinal cerebrospinal fluid is not common. Okay. Chalo. Any more questions? Any questions? So in my next class, we'll continue the spinal cord too. Okay. Thank you.